Sorry?
Can I see your signs?
Can you see them, yeah?
Yeah.
Walking over the border.
Oh, thank you. Do you mind if I show your t-shirt? Oh, can I show it? Thank you. I'm live streaming on YouTube. Do you like that? Oh, Can you tell what I
Where are you living,
Come.
I mentioned it also.
Oh, yeah, but you were married.
Everyone else,
I actually replied to it because it needs refreshing. I need to refresh it. I said next time I go down, I'll take it away and repaint it.
If you need me to do anything, let me know, please. I'll give you my email before the end of the day. Please let me know if there's anything I can do.
Come up to me again.
I promise this.
I know and we'll keep an eye as well ourselves.
yes, just for people to keep.
What's your name again?
Hi.
How are you
I
doing?
met you in Dublin. Thank you for everything. Thank you.
Oh, no.
There is.
Are you okay? Oh, yeah. I did. I must have it.
small campaign and follow them.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. That's some crowd. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Before we kick off, I would like to acknowledge that the incredible Brenda Fricker passed away yesterday, and we would like to remember that. The last time I worked with Brenda was on the Late Late Show, where she read the poem Voice by Magella Kelly as part of a focus on the, I suppose, the fallout from the Commission of Investigation report in 2021. She was an extraordinary artist, and I remember seeing her as Big Maggie in 1988 as a young actor in the Abbey Theatre. She went on to make fantastic films, as we know, and win an Oscar, but she was an absolute international treasure. And there's a tradition in Irish theatre, maybe around the world as well, when an actor passes away, that they are given the last round of applause. And I would love for us to do that right now. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Well, we all know why we're here, and I'm delighted to be here today, back in Cork. We are, as we know, there was an announcement yesterday, and we need to know that it's not just words, that there is a follow through on this. It was it was a nice breakthrough for us after all those months of campaigning and putting ourselves out there. We still need you behind us. We still need your support, and we have been overwhelmed by the national response to this issue. It is just incredible and so heartening, because it is a lonely time. We're a very, very small team of people organising and pushing this campaign. As I said before, none of us are digital natives, I can tell you that much. And 90% of campaigning takes place online, and the response has been absolutely phenomenal, and clearly we've turned that response online to feet on the street, which is really impressive. The petition, clanproject.org, still have their petition online, and we need to keep sending those emails, keep raising this issue, making sure that whatever happens is done in consultation with survivors, not just a few people, with one person leading the decisions that are made who isn't a survivor. So please keep sending those emails, and if you want to adapt them, you can do that, but it's clanproject.org. You can click for the Bessborough email campaign. There's also the petition online, which I think has gone over 12,500, which is fantastic. At the end of this, I would just like to say, first of all, just thank you for all the cross-party cooperation. We can see many of the parties here today who have stood by us and raised their voices and worked together to make sure that this issue is heard. So thank you to Labour, the Soc Dems, People Before Profit, Sinn Féin, all of those voices that stood with us, and Seamus McGrath from Fianna Fáil as well. It does make a difference. We need that support, and it's brilliant when parties work together. There's a wonderful woman who's here today, Mary McDermott, who made all these labels with the names, ages and dates of birth of the children. She's handing them out, so please feel free to wear one. We are here to remember each and every one of those children. I just want to say a thank you, because I didn't say thank you to him before, but a lovely man called Neil Dowling approached me a couple of months ago and said, would you like some merchandise for your campaign? I was like, what merchandise? And he made some tote bags and some hoodies, and those tote bags have gone everywhere. I keep coming across people on trains and buses, usually young people carrying those tote bags, talking about the campaign, and it's amazing. I never got to thank him properly. We are going to do a march after this, when we finish with the speeches and the music and the performances, and we will assemble over there and march the same route that the Palestinian march does, and then we will meet back here for a brief, I suppose, remembrance or a gathering for the children to think about them. There are 27 boards with paper red arts on them, made by the incredible students and teachers from Larkin Community College. And there they are. They wrote the names of each and every one of the children. And they stood outside the Dáil in March and held a 923 seconds of silence for the babies. Extraordinary. And we have a lot of young people supporting us now, which is absolutely brilliant, because we know what young people did in Ireland. They did repeal and marriage equality with their voices and their organising. They're extraordinary, and I thank everybody who's here today. Okay, so we're going to start the proceedings, and obviously we're going to start with the incredible Carmel Cantwell, who has been working on this issue tirelessly, long before planning permission was announced or anything else. She was watching, protecting those sacred lands, working away in the background on her own sometimes. But she knows that land like nobody else does. So whatever the Taoiseach is planning with the developers, with Cork County Council, Carmel needs to be involved, survivors need to be involved, but Carmel is forensic about this land, let's put it that way. So please put your hands together for Carmel Cantwell. Thank you.
Before I start, can I just read out a message from PJ Coogan, who, as you know, has been really involved with our campaign for many, many years. Hello everyone, and greetings from Lanzarote. It's unusual for me to miss one of these events, but I just want you all to know that you're in my thoughts today. Hopefully the latest intervention by the Taoiseach will help to protect and preserve for all time the memory of the missing children. It's at least that they deserve. I will see you all soon, PJ Coogan. Thank you all for being here today. Since planning permission for Bessborough was granted in February, our campaign has intensified, and survivors, campaigners, supporters and public representatives have come together as one voice. My name is Carmel Cantwell, a member of the Bessborough Mother and Baby Home Support Group. My brother is one of the 923 children who died after being born in Bessborough. His burial place is unknown. Like so many families, we carry a grief with no grave, no marker and no certainty. That absence is part of Ireland's history and part of Bessborough's truth. It is why this land matters. A site of national conscience is where a country chooses to remember, a place where truth is honoured and suffering acknowledged. Bessborough must be recognised as such a site, and if we truly mean that, development on these grounds cannot continue. This is not development land, it is a landscape of loss. The Commission itself admitted burials may have taken place in the grounds, yet no full archaeological investigation has been carried out. With this level of infant death, uncertainty and trauma, building will be unthinkable anywhere else. But survivors have had to fight again and again simply to protect what remains. Let me be clear, this is not opposition to housing, it is opposition to building on a potential burial ground. Irish planning law, national heritage policy and basic human decency all say the same thing. Where there is credible risk of unrecorded burials, development must not proceed. The risks exist here, it has been acknowledged. It has never been resolved. And when the land is finally protected, when families are no longer fighting planning battles, then the time will be right for proper investigations. Only then can we begin to answer the questions that have haunted families for generations. Bessborough is one of the most significant sites of social history. To build over it, to pour concrete over the possibility of children's graves is not progress, it is erasure. We now face a choice. Protect this land or repeat the mistakes of the past by burying them under development. I ask the government and I ask the people of Ireland to choose remembrance over convenience, dignity over development, and truth over resilience. Over silence. Bound to make one mistake. Do not build on the grounds of Bessborough. Protect them, respect them, let them speak. Thank you very much.
When the planning decision was announced, all our hearts broke. Our spirits didn't.
The
but our
petition
hearts
is
broke.
also
We were
in
really,
the description of
horrified
this stream. Thank
at the
you.
prospect of what was about to happen and being allowed to happen. And we were all sitting on our own across the country thinking, what can we do, what can we do? And Senator Laura Harman contacted me and said, we need to do a rally in Cork. So that's why we're here today. And it was like, okay, let's start organising. And it was the best thing to do. But when you're at that point, when you've done the protests, you've done the vigils, you've stood and read the names of every single one of those children, it's hard to see how to move forward. And you're tired. This kind of campaigning is exhausting when you are emotionally connected to the issues. It makes it 10 times harder. But thank you to Senator Laura Harman, and I'm going to ask her to come up and speak now. Thank you.
You can share this out on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you like to share it out. You can share it out.
Hi everyone. I just want to say from the outset that it's very clear that people power works. And we saw this yesterday with the welcome comments from our Taoiseach that he's engaging with the City Council, asking them to engage with the landowners to see can this site be purchased. And this happened because of your collective action, because you refused to stay silent on this issue, and because of those campaigners and families who have been campaigning for decades in relation to this. But this is just the start. We have a long, long way to go. And I want to say that I stand with you today, with survivors, your families, those that were born at Bessborough, the 859 babies that are missing, the 923 babies that died at Bessborough, the 19 women that are missing, and the 19,000 plus women who passed through that site. We stand with you. Manona Heron, August Firna Heron, Tommy Lekela. And it's been fantastic to work in collaboration with all parties and none on this issue. And just last week, there was a letter sent by most Oireachtas members in Cork to our Taoiseach. This was spearheaded by Donncha O'Leary in Sinn Féin. And I see Donncha and others in the crowd here today. And I want to thank all parties that have campaigned on this. And we know that Deputy Seamus McGrath, who's here today, and Padraig O'Sullivan in Fianna Fáil, they also put pressure on the Taoiseach, their own colleague. And I want to commend them for using their voice. I want to thank the Social Democrats, and I think we need to give a huge round of applause to Noelle Brown for all of her continued advocacy and organising. The Green Party, People Before Profit, Independents, Fine Gael, and all parties have led on this. This has been a cross-party issue, along with my own party as well. And we often talk about leaders in the past, or politicians in the past, and we might say that he or she was before their time, or they were behind the times, or they were ahead of the time. But the reality is that you can only ever be of your time. We can only be of our time, and we can only be courageous now in this life that we have. And I'm calling on the Taoiseach to continue to use his voice now, to be a leader on this, and to ensure that this site is protected at all costs. And we're sending a clear message here today from the heart of Cork City, the rebel county. We're sending a clear message to people in Ireland and across the world that we will not stop until Bessborough is saved. And survivors and their families have to be central to this campaign at all points in the campaign. And today I'm thinking of those whose lives were cut short, those who didn't get to advocate on this issue, those who died at Bessborough, those who didn't get to walk the streets of Cork when they were kids, grow up in this city or grow up in this country. I'm thinking of Mary Donovan's twin siblings, Vincent Joseph and Anne Veronica, who died in 1959. I'm thinking of Anne Sline, who died on this very day, the 18th of July, 1943. I'm thinking of Christina Lehan, who was born in December 1938 and died in March 1939. And I'm thinking of Joseph Cody, who died on the 10th of the 3rd, 1928, at 5 months. And I know everybody is wearing all of the 923 names of the babies that died here today. We have well over 1,000 people here at this march today. And we need to ensure that there's a memorial befitting of all who died and passed through Bessborough. A memorial befitting of this for all of those who died, all the survivors, and all of those who are missing. And we need the truth. And they say that the arc of history bends towards justice. But that arc only bends because we make it bend. And I'm telling you all here today, we're telling the Taoiseach, we're telling the people of Ireland, the government and the world, that we are going to bend that arc at all costs towards justice. Because our history is part of our present and it's part of our future. And we will do everything in our power to ensure that we save Bessborough, that we get the truth and we get that memorial built for all of those who deserve and need it. Go raibh míle mágah.
Thank you, everybody. Catherine, you take care. I understand.
Thank you. I think like a lot of people involved in this, I didn't know one end of a planning application from another, but I'm very well versed now, I can tell you that. Somebody that was of huge assistance and support all the way through when it looked like this was going to happen was Councillor Peter Horgan, and he worked tirelessly on Cork County Council, as did a lot of other councillors, but primarily Peter worked with Carmel to make sure that observations went in and navigated the whole planning thing, because it is quite paper heavy and quite confusing. So I'd like to introduce you, put your hands together for Councillor Peter Horgan. Thank you.
Thanks, Noel. I want to thank everyone who's come out here today, everyone who's wearing a badge, everyone who liked a comment, everyone who shared a post on Instagram, because today shows the power of social media and the power of people of Cork when they come together to, in one voice, say, no further. I met Carmel Campbell a long time ago, but I sat down with her in September 2024, just after I was elected, and we discussed in detail Bessborough. And in September, I submitted a motion to Cork City Council to begin the process of discussing a CPO. It wasn't a simplistic motion then. I went to every party in City Hall, every non-party, and I said, I don't want this to be party political. I want this to be about the memory of those people who passed through Bessborough and who didn't pass through Bessborough. It was stuck in legal quagmire in committee while a previous planning application was being decided. And last September 2025, the previous decision was refused by Bord Pleanála at the time, rightly so, and it passed through the council unanimously. Every councillor was in favour of it. There was very little debate. It wasn't a simplistic motion then. And when the decision was made last week by Commission Pleanála, which was abhorrent in my opinion, and a disgusting act of planning law, because it didn't just ignore the moral issue, it ignored planning issues. The development is in contravention of the city development plan in terms of the type of dwellings there. But they said because of housing need in the area that it would pass. But that is not true. In Bessborough, in the Bessborough Road area, for anyone who knows it, there's Dara Park, there's Clover Court, there's another development happening across the road. There is housing in the area, but we don't want housing on this site of national conscience. When I received the word from Commission Pleanála that they were giving it, I spoke with my colleagues in the council to suspend standing orders, and I'm thankful to the Lord Mayor Damien Boylan for facilitating that debate on Monday night. At that debate, I was accused of putting in simplistic motions. And all this week, it's now all of a sudden a simplistic motion. It was never a simplistic motion because this is not a simplistic matter. A CPO is difficult. Acquiring land is difficult. And on Tuesday, we should have heard from the Taoiseach that he was going to start that process. I welcome the fact that he came aboard last night. But now is the time for action. He should not be fobbing it back to City Council to buy the land because City Council do not have the monies. The monies must come from government. And a lot of people have made a point this week that it's going to be too costly to buy the site. It'll be the most expensive public park in Europe, they say. There are times in this country when money means something to the higher beings in Dublin, and there are times when money doesn't. Since 2019, over 2 billion has been spent on consultants' reports from the big consulting houses. There wasn't a murmur from government buildings at that point. Exactly. And what we want to see action from the government now. I want to see the Taoiseach leading on this. It's not party political to question the Taoiseach. He is the leader of the country. The Taoiseach is the deputy leader of the country. They'll be swapping places soon enough. And we can't allow any momentum to drop on this. I will be working with any councillor, any party and non-party, to pursue this in City Council to the end. And I would encourage all Oireachtas members across all parties to work together as they have been this week. It is not, do not underestimate the value of that motion on Monday night. The value of one City Council, of this city, speaking with one voice for those who lost their lives in Bessborough. We can do this together by working together, and I urge you, stay with us for every step of it, and we will get to the promised land. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Horgan. Our next speaker is, I can only describe as a gentleman, and I've met him so many times over the years since I started campaigning in 2013. At every event he rocks up, whatever part of the country it's in, he's there, a gentle, kind, wonderful man, and his name is Martin Parfrey.
Thank you.
Peter spoke about the cost of buying the land in Bessborough. During COVID, I addressed the Oireachtas subcommittee on the institutional burials bill. I did concentrate on Bessborough at the time. I pointed out that the land should be taken over by the state. Holly Cairns was part of that committee. She agreed and said it could be done by CPO. If it had been done that time, it would have cost a lot less than doing it now while there's planning in place. But that was the time to act. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. Any development in Bessborough would be absolutely disgraceful. I mean, at the end of the day, we don't know where the 859 babies' bodies are, nor the 19 mothers who've also been buried without any identification. Their burial places have never been identified either. During the week, I got a message from a friend of mine whose late father lived on the grounds of Bessborough, and he told me that his father actually walked the grounds with some government officials. He thinks solicitors may have been involved, and he identified burial places. But that information, that evidence, is locked away now for 75 years. Along with a lot of other files, all locked away for 75 years. When that 75 years is up, if those files are released, they'll be of no use. It'll be too late. No, I won't keep it because there are a lot of people to come. But one thing I will finish with, a friend of mine wrote a beautiful short poem about Bessborough, Jim Williamson. Jim can't be with us today, but I'll read his poem. It's actually up on the Facebook page of Catherine Corliss, an amazing woman. It's called Respect, Not Neglect. These grounds hold such stories dark, where is our memorial park? a place where we can sit a while to think of mother, think of child. We can't forget what happened here, the lack of love and lack of care, those wretched separation hours supervised by thin-veiled cowards. Let's not abandon them again. Let's show them that they have a friend. They deserve so much more than just a name that went before. This was no home, no safe place. Heroes in our eyes, we must somehow recognise that you deserve respect, no shame, a park with every single name. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you very much. Faye O'Rourke is part of the band Soda Blonde, who are a pop band from Dublin, Irish alternative pop band, who were formed
Mother
in
and Baby
2019 by
Home.
members of the former band Little Green Cars. She's a singer, songwriter and composer. I met Faye in a pub, as you do in Ireland, and I had just finished a gig and she asked me, she said, "You're an artist, what are you working on?" And I said, "Well, I'm actually trying to write something about menopause." This was 2018 because nobody's talking about it, and clearly I'm going through it because I'm sweating buckets. And her first response was, "Why don't you do an event in the Sugar Club? Why don't you get some music? Why don't you get some DJs? Why don't you get a panel discussion and do your piece of theatre?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And then we said goodbye, and I thought, well, I'll never hear from her again. I think it was 2 days later I got an email going, "I've booked the Sugar Club. We need to get together and figure out how to do this." And we did this incredible event called Kamenki, about an entire night about menopause. And it was the most incredible event that ever happened. But that's the kind of person she is. And we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. And I remember her saying to me, "If you ever need anything from me, when you're campaigning around the issue of mother and baby homes, you pick up the phone." So I did, and I'm delighted that she's here. She played the National Concert Hall last night, so I understand she might be a bit tired. But she did a shout out at that gig about the rally today, and she sang a song in memory of those women and their babies. Please put your hands together for Faye O'Rourke.
Sounds organised. I just want to commend all the bravery of the survivors here today, and those that are lost have a voice, and they have a voice through us. So I'm going to attempt a Sinead O'Connor song here, and we'll just think of those 859 infants and 19 women.
Each of these, my 3 babies, I will carry with me. For myself, I ask no one else will be mother to these 3. And of course, I'm like a wild horse, but there's no other way I could be. Water and feed are not tools that I need to be what I have chosen to be. In my soul, my blood and my bones, I have wrapped your cold bodies round me. Yeah. The face of you, the smell of you will always be with me. Each of these, my 3 babies, I never wanted to leave. Though I tried, I blasphemed and denied, I know they will be returned to me. Each closer to me. No longer mad like a horse, I'm still wild, but not lost from the thing I have chosen to be. 'Cause you thrill me, silence and still me, prove things I'd never believe. Yeah, the face on you, the smell of you will always be with me. Each of these, my 3 babies, I will carry with me. For myself, I ask no one else will be mother to these 3.
Thank you, Faye. I'm quite sure there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I know I had trouble. That was absolutely beautiful. Our next speaker is someone, again, I bump into over the years, a kind, gentle, wonderful, wonderful man that's always a pleasure to talk to. He's a former senior award-winning journalist at the Irish Examiner. He exposed illegal adoptions, infant trafficking, mother and baby home conditions, infant deaths, vaccine trials, and many more issues in a decade of extraordinary work as a young journalist. And he was young. He was in his early 20s, I discovered recently, while also being a strong advocate for survivors throughout those years. He moved to academia from journalism and became a Fulbright scholar, and he has just completed his PhD in media studies. Please put your hands together for Conall O'Farda.
Hi everyone. Yeah, it's great to be here amongst friends, which is not something I could have always said when I was a reporter. And seeing people like Martin and Christy Kerwin and others, people I've known a long time, and particularly when I didn't know anything about any of this, and they taught me an awful lot, and I owe them an awful lot. And to Noel and Carmel, and there's a million people I could mention who've been at this for, Jesus, donkey's years, and are absolute warriors, and deserve good things to happen. I've written something down because I'm a better speaker than, or a better writer than I am a speaker, so if you just bear with me. First of all, I think it's shameful we should have to stand here and ask our government to do the bare minimum, and I mean that, the bare minimum, for people who have been failed and worse, ignored by the state time and time again. As a journalist, I began investigating mother and baby institutions and forced and legal adoption around about 2009. Time and time again, over more than a decade, I wrote about Bessborough. I knew nothing about Bessborough until I moved to Cork and started to work here. I wrote about the treatment of women and children, about deaths, unmarked burials as late as 1990, and people need to remember that, about the lack of access to records, which is still going on, about girls as young as 13, victims of rape, which needs to be stressed, being sent there into the 1980s. These were crimes that were not reported at the time and still haven't been, as far as I know. I obtained records showing that there was an infant mortality rate as high as 82% in Bessborough in the 1940s, and that the state had privately admitted, and again I think this is lost sometimes, in the 1940s that it feared a, quote, public scandal, end quote, over the deaths as early as then. So this is not something that's new. These are facts, incontrovertible facts. We know there are 19 mothers and 859 infants associated with Bessborough that died and remain missing. We still don't know where they are buried. The Mother and Baby Homes Commission of Investigation concluded, quote, "It is highly likely that burials did take place in the grounds of Bessborough," end quote. Yet it came to this conclusion without having carried out an extensive investigation of the Bessborough grounds. It did no geophysical survey using ground penetrating radar, no test excavations. It had archaeologists walk the grounds and look at maps. These assessments, as others have pointed out, are sealed in the Commission's archive. So I ask one simple question. Why are the women and children of Bessborough, and indeed any other site, not entitled to the same level of investigation that was rightly done for Tuam. At what point does the state take responsibility for its legal obligation to investigate what happened to these children and women missing from Bessborough? These were people that were arbitrarily detained and subjected to forced and, in many cases, illegal family separation. We keep hearing from the government that they cannot interfere with a planning matter. That is simply not true. This is not a planning matter. To label it as such is insulting to every woman and child who passed through any mother and baby institution. It is about the human rights obligations that this state is bound by. The state is required to act. It is obliged under European and international law to investigate the deaths of women and children who died in institutions and to ascertain where they are buried and return their remains to relatives. The fact that this land is even in the hands of a developer, I would argue, is a disgrace. It's not the only institutional site where this has happened. Because the Irish state has consistently failed to hold any of the religious orders and other entities it colluded with to any form of accountability for the abuses inflicted on generations of Irish women and children. There are three things the government can do, and I'm echoing what everyone else here is saying. First, CPO the remaining Bessborough site. The government should act on the unanimous motion passed by Cork City Council and the wishes of many of the bereaved families by acquiring the remaining 60 acres. The land should be preserved as a public memorial and a place of remembrance, rather than being given over to a developer whose sole goal is profit. The question here is, why won't they do it? They have done it before. In the 1970s, 140 acres of the 200-acre site was CPO'd to build a road and a retail park. If the state can act to build roads and shopping centres, why can't it act in the interests of the women and children of Bessborough? Second, publish the Bessborough technical reports. Unseal all records concerning burials from the Mother and Baby Homes Commission Investigation Archive. Unlike for Tuam and Sean Ross Abbey, the Commission did not publish its archaeological assessment of the grounds at Bessborough. Why not? Let the affected families and the public see those assessments. Third, direct the Attorney General to seek an inquest. Families have waited decades for effective investigations into these deaths. They shouldn't have to wait any longer. The Attorney General should be directed to facilitate an inquest under Section 24 of the Coroners Act. The Taoiseach's intervention yesterday asking Cork City Council to engage with the owners of the site in order to explore all available options is welcome, but more importantly, it shows the power of this campaign. We need to keep the pressure on. I urge everyone to email every TD and Senator to demand the government intervene to stop this development. You can do this in less than a minute by, as Noel said, going to planproject.org and clicking Save Bessborough. This is not history. This is not the past. This is an ongoing injustice. And until the missing women and children of Bessborough, and indeed of every institution, are properly accounted for, it will remain one. Thank you.
Thanks, Donald, for your brilliant words. I just want to double check our next speaker is close by. Terry Harrison, are you here? No, okay. We'll come back to Terry, that's no problem at all. Our next, just give me 2 minutes now. It's all going so well. Yes, actor Hilda Fay, what can I say about her? She's a much loved and respected actor who works extensively across film, television and theatre. She was nominated for an IFTA for Best Supporting Actress for her role in Whistleblower in 2009 and again in 2024 for Showtime BBC The Woman in the Wall. The reason Hilda's here today is, well, apart from the fact that she's an incredible actor, and we've all watched her many, many times in theatre and screen. She called me when she was researching her part for The Woman in the Wall, and she said, I want to get this right, Noel, can you connect me with survivors if they're willing to talk to me? I do not want to offend anybody, I want to respect what happened to these women and these children. And it stayed with me because too often people go, oh, I know what that's about, I'll just interpret it in whatever way I want. And I never forgot it. So she was the first person I thought of today to come here and be part of it in some way. Please put your hands together for Hilda Faye. Thank you.
I am going to be reading a poem today by Sarah Clancy. Cherishing for beginners. Cherish the meek, cherish the ranchers, cherish the guards, and cherish the bankers. Cherish the virgins, then ride them, and cherish their sisters. Cherish tax exiles and entrepreneurs. Cherish the rewards of the intergenerational privilege, or if that's too hard for beginners, just cherish the rosatory for starters. Cherish the goal and the point and the foul. Cherish the priest's dirty sheets, but not the woman who washes them. Don't mention her or what she might need. Go on. Cherish the IFSC and its type of laundries. Those ones are fine. They're grand, sure. Cherish them. Cherish the men, because they couldn't help it. If the women and girls went and fell pregnant, cherish the fetus, the heartbeat, but not the person it's in. Then cherish the small graves in their undisclosed wastelands. Cherish the shovels and the boot soles that dug them. Let there be no doubt about it. Yes, we can cherish the children if they're from the right class and aren't travelling people and are not, for God's sake, seeking asylum. Don't forget too that we must cherish the mute and cherish the sheepish, but hate those in need. Worship Father Peter McVerry himself. Go ahead, make him an icon, but don't hear what he's saying about anything. Cherish the poor for how you can use them to frighten those who are just one rung above. Cherish the people who learned early and often what happens to those with big mouths. Cherish your local TDs and the crowd in Listowel who didn't care that he raped her. Sure, wasn't he one of their own? Yeah. Cherish the rapist, why don't you? Cherish the golf course and its sprinklers. Sure, Irish Water will save us. Cherish peace work and internship and 0-hour contracts. Sure, aren't you lucky to have a job at all? Do you not remember the coffin chips? Sure, are you not grateful? Yes, cherish your own exploitation. Cherish the school board for our lack of gay teachers. Cherish women's place in the home, then cut their allowance. Sure, they don't deserve them, having all those children. Repeat after me. Cherish privatisation. And if you don't, then you better learn to cherish the knock on your door in the morning. Consider this a warning. Cherish Dev and Pierce and blood sacrifice, and don't mention James Connolly, who said, until Ireland's women are free, none of us will be. Most of all, though, cherish outsourcing. And remember, your call is important. You too will be cherished equally if you can afford it. As soon as an operator becomes available, which may well take another 100 years.
Thank you, Hilda. That was absolutely wonderful. Just to remind people, we will be doing a march after this, and I ask a lot of the speakers that are coming up as well to be as brief as you can, if you're just in terms of minding time, because I know the guards have to stay to guide us on the march as well, and we really want to make that walk through the streets, because it just struck me when I got off the train the other day walking through, those children never got to walk the streets of Cork. They never got out of that place, so we're going to do it for them. Our next speaker is James Gallen. He's an Associate Professor in the School of Law and Government at DCU. His research and publications address a transitional justice approach to non-recent abuses in Western democracies and in Christian churches. Please put your hands together for James Gallen. Thank you.
Hi everybody, thank you for being here. It's also a shame that we have to be here, as Connell said, that we have to force our government to take this issue seriously and to do something about it. It's also a testament to the ongoing courage, endurance of survivors, their families and the advocates that we gather today. And I think it's a reflection of our shared hope that we can do justice, that good things can happen, that the past is not set in stone. Today we're dealing with two conflicting forces. We're dealing with ideas of money and bureaucracy and, quote, progress. And we're dealing with a past that breaks again and again into our present and demands our attention and demands our action. But we're doing this in a way and in a space where we have imperfect information. We have an absence of evidence. The remains of 859 children and 19 women remain unaccounted for. But the planning decision looks like there is evidence of absence, that things are okay, that they can proceed. But it is the job of our state, the responsibility of our government, to find those remains and return them to their loved ones. I still cannot believe that there is no one, no piece of paper, no information in the state or with the Sisters of the Sacred Heart, or with the people of the proud county of Cork that can provide any further information on the whereabouts of those remains in Bessborough or elsewhere. We cannot know how to proceed until further forensic work is undertaken. But we face a choice. Will we live in a country where the right of property is more important than the right of families to know the fate of their loved ones, and the right of all human beings to be buried decently and in a dignified way? And so I obviously support calls for the compulsory purchase of the land, for further surveys, geophysical, LiDAR, ground-penetrating surveys across the entire site. We need to challenge the idea that planning law is the right way to address this issue at all. The inspector's report of this recent planning decision said a full excavation of the site would be very disruptive. We don't need the full excavation to facilitate the development. But we're not here today to facilitate development. We're here today to find the remains of children, to provide dignity and knowledge, and to discharge the duty that we owe to one another. Now, the planning permission comes with conditions. It says a forensic archaeologist has to be there. But we cannot let dealing with the past come through the back door, as if it is only a consequence of laying the foundation for apartments. It is an insult to survivors and their families that the soil of Bessborough would be first disrupted, not in their names, not with forensic care, but as a byproduct of industry and finding bones by accident. As a country, we have clear obligations in human rights law, in our national laws, to effectively, comprehensively and promptly investigate these deaths. And we know this, and the government know this, because they've been told time and time again. They've been told by 8 UN special rapporteurs that taking action breaches the international human rights obligations we have. They've been told by our own domestic human rights special rapporteur, Geoffrey Shannon, in 2018, that the same obligations require effective investigation, but still we've done nothing. As Connell mentioned, the Commission of Investigation didn't disclose its archaeological findings, but is able to say it's highly likely that remains are buried in those grounds. Until we do all that we can, we are just speculating. This is also true in Tuam. I worked with and alongside families and survivors in the context of Tuam, and they heard many of the things we are likely to hear in this campaign. It's too complex. Never been done before in the whole world. Couldn't possibly do it. Too expensive. Sure, don't you know there's a housing crisis on? We've got these other competing concerns. It took the government several years and several strategies of delay to move things forward until they finally came to the solution of their choosing, the Institutional Burials Act. And even having passed that legislation, the dig and Tuam only began this week last year. But my question to the Taoiseach is, what do survivors and families in Bessborough deserve? Do they deserve any less? What quality as citizens of this country do they lack to be treated with the same respect and dignity as the survivors in Tuam? If we have a solution, why is it not being employed here? We will be told it's different. We will be told it is too expensive or forensically too complicated. We'll be told we can't afford it. I think for our national conscience, we cannot afford to ignore this. Not until everything that can be done has been done. I would remember what James Baldwin says, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. We have to face the reality of the challenge that for ourselves and our country in looking for these remains. We must grasp the nettle, accept the cost, buy the land, and act. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Our next speaker I always describe as my cribmate, because we were cribmates in Bessborough, and weirdly, in primary school, she was the first friend I made, and we sat next to each other in class. She is, Miriam Hayes Delaney. Thank you.
In memory of the forgotten babies, they are remembered. No cradle rocked, no names were spoken aloud. They slipped away beneath a quiet cloud. Too small for history, too brief for tears, they slept forgotten through the passing years. Yet earth remembers where their footprints fell, in whispered winds and fields of asphodel. No soul is lost, no fragile life in vain, reclaimed by peace, released from any pain.
Thank you so much, Miriam. If anybody is thinking about writing to the Taoiseach, I just want to read a very quick letter that a friend of mine sent, because there is a template on the clanproject.org, but you can also input your own letters. Dear Taoiseach, I am writing to you about the situation in the Bessborough mother and baby site. I know you have a tough job, and I imagine you absolutely want to do the right thing by everyone involved. So to that end, I wish to express my encouragement, but also dismay at the decision made to go ahead with building on top of a most likely burial ground of hundreds of children's bodies. I know that housing is an issue for government, but there are enough derelict housing sites and other much more appropriate grounds for apartments to be built on in Cork. I'm not even sure why, how anyone would want or choose to live on a potential mass grave anyway. The deep hurt and pain this is all causing to survivors is immeasurable. I have seen firsthand the dire impact on survivors and have grave concerns about this as they continue to fight to preserve their dignity as humans and Irish citizens who have thus been treated as second-class citizens with their rights to information having been denied to them for many years. The message being sent to people born at Bessborough and all those women whose babies were taken from them there is beyond inhumane. The legacy is a great stain on our land and will continue to fester for generations if we do not honour the dead and the living with a compulsory purchase order. The site does not necessarily have to be exhumed, but be consecrated and be left to survivors as how they wish to honour the children who died there at Bessborough. Please do everything in your power to turn this round and become a force for good. It would mean the world for so many of us, in fact for all of us, Taoiseach, as this is all of our histories. We were all born of mothers and we were all privileged enough to have survived our infancies. How the state has treated and continues to treat mothers and babies says everything about us as a people. When this is recognised in action, there is great healing and strengthening in us as proud Irish citizens. And we can then take that pride out onto the world stage. Do you want to be part of that or be involved in a fear-based solution founded on greed? The choice is yours. You have the power. We have entrusted you with that, so please don't let us and yourself down. Thank you for reading this. Kind regards, Sarah Pillion. Thank you. Our next speaker is Katrina Toomey. You hear Katrina? Is Katrina Toomey here?
Thank you, everybody.
Great. Thanks, Katrina.
Hi everyone. I wrote mine down as well because there was stuff I wanted to say and there was stuff I didn't want to forget, so I wrote it all down for you. And first of all, I would just like to just say that how great, you know, the mother and baby support group are and all that helped them, and Councillor Noel Brown, absolutely fantastic, and it's just great to see everybody here in support of what they're looking for, what we're all looking for. Okay, here goes. The most terrifying thing about Bessborough is not only what happened there. It is how many people were willing to look straight at it and do nothing at all except call it a holy place. When the poor young girls and young women arrived at Bessborough, Bessborough took complete possession of them. Names gone, hair cut, clothes removed. They were issued uniforms and reduced to numbers, labourers and fallen girls and women, frightened, pregnant and cut off from anyone who might protect them. Behind those walls there was no one to turn to and nowhere to hide. They scrubbed and washed and cooked and worked the land while exhausted, pregnant and vulnerable. Their pain was horrifically dismissed, their voices were horribly silenced, even childbirth did not restore their freedom. No compassion or comforting words. And then their babies were taken, snatched away from them. Some others were cruelly only allowed fleeting glimpses of their babies before they disappeared into other rooms, other homes and other countries. The mothers were left with no explanation, no choice and no way to follow their baby. The sound of a crying, uncomforted baby became a final memory for most of these mothers, a memory that haunted them for the rest of their lives. For babies who became sick, the separation became even more devastating. They were placed away from their mothers in a room that was associated with death, the dying room where tiny babies could weaken and die without warmth and protection of their mamas. And when they died, it was without mourning. Deaths were hidden behind incomplete records and silence. 64 babies' burials were recorded. However, 859 were disappeared. They're missing. And you know, here in Cork we have charities, we have groups that look for missing people. We have them all over the country. We have 859 babies missing down in Bessborough. Someone needs to look for them. I'm sure that left some mothers to wonder if their babies were ever buried there at all or were they sold. The most gruesome part of this is the deliberate erasure. Institutions recorded births, baptisms, adoptions, deaths, chores and punishments. Yet somehow where the babies were buried was the one detail no one thought was worth writing down. Or did they? The Holy will not say. Children died, their bodies were disappeared, their mothers were lied to, and we all know who simply adjusted itself around those facts as though they were an inconvenience rather than an atrocity. The silence is not empty, it has weight. It is the silence of locked rooms, sealed records, and names spoken only by mothers who were told to forget. It is the silence left behind when a woman asks what happened to her child and is met with a shrug, a lie, or nothing at all. That is not an accident, that is a choice to treat infants as disposable, a choice to treat mothers as though their grief could be managed, corrected, or erased, a choice to let the dead vanish without a care. If a society can take children from their mothers, allow them to die, many from malnutrition, then bury the evidence of their burial, and then bury the outrage when the truth comes out, well then it has lost its moral pulse. No mother's arms held her baby as the little ones lay dying. No mother's tears fell softly onto her baby's skin to let them know they were loved, wanted, and would be missed forever. Some others were not even given the truth. They were left to live with an absence that had no explanation. carrying grief without a body, a grave, or a goodbye. And no one held those heartbroken mothers either. The reason Bessborough still hurts is because the harm is unfinished. The children are still missing. The truth is still missing. The accountability is still missing. And every attempt to move on, to rezone, to redevelop can become another burial. Another layer of soil over the same wound. Another future built on ground that has never been properly mourned. Until every child is let me go back to a line I think is very crucial. It says, who are they that are cruel enough to say, bury them again beneath a cold concrete slab of a headstone and call it planning permission? Until every child is found, or every possible effort has been made to identify and honour them, until every mother, family, sibling knows what became of their little one, until survivors and siblings can find the children who were taken from their family histories, and until the land is treated as a place of death and memory rather than merely a construction site, the past is not past. It is the present, it is unhealed, and it is still asking us whether we are willing to look away. Well, we are not, and we will not. The walls of Bessborough and those that ran it may have fallen silent, but the suffering and loss held within them has not. And this is for the mothers. She carried beneath him her heart. She sang to him at night. Then strangers took her newborn child and hid him from her sight. She begged them for mercy. She pleaded through her tears. But cruelty wore a holy face and silence ruled the years. Thank you.
Thank you, Katrina. Our next performer is Nellie Conroy, who I've known for many, many years since she was a very young woman. She's worked as an actor in film, television and theatre for over 25 years, and she's also a tireless social justice campaigner, most recently in relation to the horror of what's happening in Palestine. Nellie Conroy, thank you.
Hiya. I'm going to read a Paula Meehan poem called Seven Stanzas for the Magdalens. While they were washing the stains from the poor's dirty linen, I wrote in Miss Shannon's class, An Old Boot Tells Its Story. While they were scrubbing the sweat of sex, of fever, of blood, the marks of labour, of birth, of afterbirth, weeping, flushing it all down the drain, we recited the 7 times tables, the mysteries, glorious and sorrowful, Coddiana Mitvasta, the tri-coloured ribbon. In 2 big pillowcases, I'd lug the family wash along Sean McDermott Street, or in the new baby's pram. Curtains and blankets and rugs wobbled over the cobbles the year I turned 11. I thought they were nearly nuns. If I thought at all about the sad ones checking the wash, their hands chapped, raw and mottled, their cropped hair, their hickiness, how one with the bluest eyes petted my head, said, good girl, when the one in charge wasn't looking. My world was dark and light, fearsome, dazzling by turns. I can feel her hand on my head, smell carbolic and bleach, hear the undersong of clicking rosary beads. The Republic was young then. We thought at last we were free. With hindsight, I write this down. The convent closed, the Magdalens still without justice or peace. They turn in their unmarked graves or take their cause to the streets. I roam the rooms of the past where dust settles on the floors. The statues have tumbled down, and with them our foolish faith in stone, in plaster and paint. I believe in this one truth. Light sings to the breaking dark. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are actually going to, because time is moving on, we're going to start the march now. We'll come back here for final statements and a final song from Faye. So if you can walk or you feel comfortable, if you want to stay here, it's not a very long march. We will be back and we will finish the proceedings here. Is that okay? Thank you. And whoever has the red hearts, the boards, just hand them out. Thank you so much. Yeah, there's 27 of them there, and please bring them back and return them at the end, because I want to keep them, you know, for the young people, because they put such much work into them. Thank you so much.
And bring them back to here, and I'll take them back to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, here. I'll bring him back here.
No, you can take that. Take that and bring that back to me. Yeah. Will anyone else take a poster, please? Anyone take a poster?
It's working, right? Yes, yeah. So just thanks everyone for staying, and I know the heat is quite intense today, so we're going to gather here and we're going to go around in a loop down Patrick Street and back up Oliver Plunkett Street. We're going to have this banner at the front here, see Arthur Leahy holding it up, so we're going to walk out this way and back around. Thanks very much everyone.
They're not my words now, they're Holly Cairns.
Oh yeah.
Some of them were kept there as servants, weren't they?
I go blue, yes. This side now. What? Are you taking two of them? There's two here.
It's great, well done to you. It's a great event, isn't it? Well done, Laura.
I sent you a photo as well today.
if they went to Fort Worth. But obviously a lot of people died. Yeah. No, it's like they're for you. Yeah, but
Thank you, everybody. Do you mind if I show you? Yes, please.
Get the bubbles.
Thank you.
Oh, that was brilliant.
where's Anita?
Oh, maybe they did, yeah.
You're here today because God gave you life. You're here today because God gave you life. The Bible says it very clearly that you are a spirit. The Bible says that without the spirit, the body is dead. As I said earlier, without the spirit, the body is dead.
It is because they
There's like loads there, like loads. We'll have to look, there should be a date on it. Very. If I won't be here, like seeing that just happen, how could like that, like the best chance in 100 years for those that want to the alternative to Labour Party. You know, like even my father talking, when he's even him was still organised, but like he seemed like a decent person, but now he's completely embarrassed, very embarrassed. Pathetic all around. Yeah. You know, when you look across the Irish Channel, that's whatever it is.
I just went in
feeling like I was pausing.
Yeah. So I actually wait to see it. So the more I do is they just delete it. They might like bring a bit more reds in, pinks or whatever, you know, or like make it brighter or something. So kids, and I want everybody in there. Happy power.
Spain has Rose.
Yeah, they have a yeah. Spain, yeah, some place. But you still have a very high number of people. Sorry. A very high number of people.
It's Scottish.
It's not.
It doesn't stop any scan. Skinny,
kind of then it's speaking like Japan. I think
Yeah. Stay for the Memorial Park and people go Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, no, never mind. That's not press. I shouldn't have done that. I always assume that's yeah. Usually I'll pray on this.
I can't wait to see it.
Thank you, everyone, for doing that march. I hope you're staying hydrated and in the shade as much as you can. It was interesting to see the level of support as we were walking along, people clapping, thumbs up, all of those things. This is really hitting home. I think people are, hugely supportive, which is so important. I just want to read a statement from the Bell Siobhan McSweeney, who when I asked her to support us, she was like, what can I do? Just tell me, I'll do it. She couldn't be here today because she had a family commitment. She really, really wanted to be here, but she wrote a statement in true Siobhan form, and she sent it to me this morning. Well, well, well. Doesn't it show the gulf between the people paid to serve our best needs and the people they serve becomes bigger and bigger? One of the biggest legacies of colonialism, of religious and patriarchal repression is the Shleveen. Men and women who manipulate and slide in and around laws and codes of conduct to pad their own pockets. But they won't get away with their awful behaviour here. We see you. Prepare for the accusations of sentimentality and hypocrisy as they try to weaponise bureaucracy. The facts of the matter are utterly simple. The site is a site of violence and state-sanctioned murder. It isn't a place to build vulgar apartments that mock the bones of our past. If they were that concerned about building accommodations, maybe they should deal with the hundreds of derelict buildings they are leaving to rot in Cork. Maybe renovate those instead of tugging the forelock to treacherous developers. I'm so grateful and proud of the work people have done to highlight this issue and urge those of us who don't have direct experience and trauma from these horrible acts to stand up and take the weight off the shoulders of men and women who have carried this for a long time. It's our time now. It's time for the Taoiseach to cop on and sort it out. It's time for a reckoning. Siobhan McSweeney, she is a diamond. Our next speaker is Margot Harkin. She's one of Ireland's most versatile and respected filmmakers, having directed and produced fiction and documentary films for over 40 years. Her iconic work, the documentary Stolen, which if you haven't seen it, please do. It was seismic. I still have people coming up to me going, oh my God, I didn't realise. Two things she really highlighted in that documentary, as well as making survivors central to the documentary, was the legacy that we've been left with and the scale of what happened. Margot Harkin, thank you.
Hello everybody, I know you're hot and tired at this stage, so I'll try to be brief. But I do want to say that 3 Carlos of us came up from Derry, down from Derry, I should say, yeah. And we picked someone up in Dublin on the way. My car was full of survivors, so was Arbuckle, who was in Stolen, and quite a few other people that were in Stolen are here today as well. I have to read like the other people. And this is really a call out not to leave anybody behind, because this happened in so many places, and there were mass graves in other places. On the 9th of March 2017, Minister Catherine Sapone announced that a significant number of human remains are buried in the site of the old mother and baby home in Tuam. As we now know, they were in an underground former sewage system under a playground. The discovery was made due to painstaking advocacy and research of Catherine Corliss and campaigning by countless survivors and their families who had spent decades in their anguished quest to be reunited with the bones of the 796 babies who died and had been interred without trace. I decided there and then to make a documentary about the mother and baby institutions all over Ireland. It took 6 years and is called Stolen. What I learned was shocking. At least 9,000 babies died at these so-called homes, at a rate sometimes 5 times the national average for babies who died throughout the country. Huge numbers of them had no burial records or known burial sites. Between 1922 and 1998, 923 babies died at Bessborough. As we now know, only 64 burial sites have been accounted for. 859 graves are missing, a much higher number than at Tuam, which we now see the attention Tuam is getting. And the graves of 19 mothers are still missing. Any intention to build over land which is held as sacred by survivors would be the deliberate creation of the most haunted human habitat in modern Ireland. It cannot be allowed to happen. At Sean Ross Abbey in Rosscray, Tipperary, mother and baby institutions, in the mother and baby institution there, 1,024 babies died, a higher number again in both Tuam and Bessborough. A 219 survey by the Government Commission of Inquiry found 42 coffined remains on 10% of the Aegis plot, which is where the babies were mostly buried that we know of. They decided not to explore further. If they had, they might logically have found in total the remains of 420 babies. Where are the other 604 babies? A recent independent engineering group found strong evidence of disturbed ground and buried objects consistent with potential burial grounds, yet the government would not allow further excavation on the grounds that there had to be definitive proof of inappropriate burials. So once again, obstacles are thrown in the path of Irish citizens searching for the remains of their loved ones. It has to stop. All of the sites where babies' remains have disappeared should be excavated where possible. People all around the country have suffered in ways that are beyond description. As we have, if you watch Stolen, you'll hear the stories of so many survivors. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Margot. We have someone who asked to speak today. She said she'll introduce herself, but her name is Sarah O'Hurley. Thank you.
be very clear. We have to call it what it is. It's an institution. It was far from a home. My name is Sarah. I was born in a mother and baby institution in North London and brought back to grow up less than 10 minutes away from Bessborough. I knew about Bessborough, but I didn't know what was going on there. I just turned 23. I was 6 months pregnant. I was single, unmarried woman when I entered Bessborough, about to give birth to my so-called illegitimate child. Although I was lucky, and I am very aware, I was lucky to leave with my baby. It wasn't without many challenges, repeated trauma, and a detrimental double dose of the church and state's shame. To paraphrase Sinead O'Connor, you take back the pain you gave us. You take back the hatred you gave us for us. You take back the shame you gave us. You take back what doesn't belong to us. I'm here today as a survivor who believes that having had these experiences has fueled my fight for justice for these 19 women and 859 babies. If the state does not make a compulsory purchase order on Bessborough, the survivors, our families, and the campaigners will not rest until those who were shown no dignity in life or in their dying are afforded the justice they are so long overdue. It was disgusting to hear Micheál Martin say in the Dáil during the week, but we won't be building on that part. CPO the 60 acres and begin to right the wrongs. We need to keep the pressure on him and on the state. And also make the apologies, not only in words, with actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Well, we'll be winding down shortly, but we have a few short statements and a speech from Joy Kelly O'Regan, who is sort of the backbone of this campaign as well. We're a small little team and we all work extremely hard. Carmel is going to read a statement from Catherine Corliss. Thank you.
Bowen, O'Connor, Hart, O'Mahony, generational Cork names, which happen to be the names of the developers list who have decided to uproot and build on the grounds of Bessborough, this sacred ground which holds the remains of hundreds of innocent babies. Ironically, those surnames are also on the 923 list of babies who are illegally buried, which suggests the possibility of a bloodline somewhere along the line, perhaps a hidden secret. There are also the names of Martin, Corbett, O'Leary, O'Shea, Sheehan, amongst the missing babies named associated with those who have the political power who can stop this transgression. We call the Taoiseach Micheál Martin to intervene now and secure a compulsory purchase order or to pay off the developers. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joy Kelly O'Regan, and when we were posting madly on social media, I would always be awake really early in the morning and I'd go to post and I'd realise that Joy had already been on there and done loads of posts and tagged loads of people and invited loads of collaborators. She has worked so hard on this, so please put your hand together for Joy Kelly O'Regan. Thank you.
My name is Joy Kelly O'Regan. I am a Bessborough survivor. I was born there in 1979. When I was born, I had to be resuscitated after 5 minutes. As I've grown older and learned the truth about what happened inside Bessborough, I have often reflected on how close I had came to never leaving those gates. I carry the knowledge with me every single day, not because I want sympathy, but because so many precious babies and children that had never had a chance that I did. For most of my life, I was told lies. Like so many survivors, I spent years searching for answers. Who am I? Where did I come from? Why? As a teenager, I returned to Bessborough looking for those answers. I was shown a little crib. That was your crib. I believed it. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't any young person question a nun? Why would anyone question the Catholic Church? Years later, I discovered that very same story had been told to so many other survivors. We realised that we had all been lied to. When I became pregnant at just 17 years of age, I requested any health notes on my records. I was posted a typed letter saying I was born healthy. Again, these were lies. When I discovered the truth, it felt as though my whole life had been built on lies. As a teenager, I worked for Alan Goulding, whose remarkable aunt was June Goulding, who wrote Light in the Window. Sitting with June and listening to her speak about the Sacred Heart Convent changed my life. Then everything suddenly made sense. The Sacred Heart Convent was Bessborough. The stories were true. The suffering was real. Years later, I was blessed to meet my beautiful birth mother. Our love was unconventional. How could it not be? So much had been stolen from us. So many years had been lost. Yet despite everything, we loved each other deeply. Tragically, Esther since passed away. Not a day goes by that I don't think of her. As I learned more about her life in Bessborough, I also came to understand the trauma she carried from Bessborough. The way the women were treated, the relentless work that they were expected to do, working until they could barely stand, even while they were heavily pregnant and even while they were in labour. No woman should ever have to endure that. Through my own research, I have also discovered I have multiple siblings. Like so many survivors, I had to search for my own family. Nobody did it for us. We became our own investigators. We pieced together our own lies because the truth was never freely given. One memory has stayed with me all of my life. Before I was banned from ever returning to Bessborough, a nun looked at me and smirked and said, "Joy, you are unloved, you are unwanted, and you are no one's child." Those words shattered me, and I carry them still. I even have them tattooed on my body. Not because I believe them, but because I will never allow anyone to forget what was said to so many of us. Today, I know who I am. I am loved, I am wanted, and I am someone's child. For decades, survivors were left with unimaginable trauma. We helped one another because there was no one else. We fought to repeal the seal simply to gain access to our own records. Once again, we were expected to remain Ireland's dirty little secret, but we refused. Today, we stand united. Survivors, birth mothers, families, supporters, communities, one voice and one purpose, one mission: to protect the sacred land of Bessborough, because Bessborough is simply not a piece of land. It is sacred ground. It is a resting place of innocent babies, children and mothers. 923 children were born and died in Bessborough. 859 babies and children remain missing from Bessborough. We must never forget the mothers. Last week we learned that there were plans to build on this sacred ground. My heart broke, our heart broke. The trauma returned, the anger returned, the grief returned. How could this still be happening? How could we once again be expected to stay silent? We will not stay silent. There will be no development over these babies, these children, these mothers. Not now, not ever. The Irish government must do the right thing. They must compulsory purchase the CPO, the land. Not because we ask, not because it's the right thing to do, because it's about human dignity, human rights, the truth, justice. I came into this world fighting, and I will leave this world fighting, not out of hatred, but out of love. For my mother Esther, for the love of my siblings, for the love of every single survivor, the love of every birth mother, the love for every baby and child who never had the chance to grow up. Today I ask every one of you to bring your compassion, your voice, because people power changes history. We are no longer Ireland's hidden children. We are no longer ashamed. We are survivors. We are families. We are the voices of the innocent. I did not choose to be born in Bessborough. You did not choose to be born in Bessborough. But I choose every day to stand up for who never had the chance to grow up, to speak or to be heard. So today we speak to remember them. We marched for them, and as long as we have breath, we will continue to fight for them until there is truth, there is dignity, there is justice, until Bessborough is protected forever. No development over our babies, our children, our mothers. CPO, the sacred land. And thank you for listening, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joy. Powerful. Our final speaker today is a woman I met for the first time. She's here on behalf of a friend of hers. Her name is Phil Desmond. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Phil Desmond, and my sister Rose was born in Bessborough in 1947. She spent 30 years asking Sister Sarto in Bessborough for any information regarding her family, and was given none until she finally got the right to investigate her own files, and then she found my mother. She asked me to read out this letter today. Her name is Roseberry, and she says, I would like you to know that anyone taking part in today's event to stop Bessborough Mother and Baby Home being turned into anything other than what it represents. The knowledge, or to acknowledge what it represents, namely a place where young girls who got pregnant outside of marriage were incarcerated for the years till the child was adopted. My sister was kept there for 3 years with my mother, and then they were torn apart. They have, without their consent, and placed with adoptive couples and my full support to oppose these plans. As a child, been there, and I know firsthand that the trauma caused. Could you read the end of that? I'm sorry, I can't see it.
I know firsthand the trauma caused by being a survivor of Bessborough. Your long lost sister, Rose, you have my full permission to read this. Well, she's with us in spirit. I got a statement from a woman I know quite well called Anne Harris. My name is Anne Harris and I gave birth to a son in Bessborough in 1970. I regret very much that I cannot be here today to lend support to you all who've been tirelessly working to stop development on the site of Bessborough. I returned to Ireland 4 years ago after many years away, and since then I've always attended the annual commemoration at Bessborough. Being present there and surrounded by compassionate and caring people has helped many of us to come to terms with what happened in the past and to gradually erase the bad memories. This is why we need to stand firm and ensure that this and all the other sites be preserved as memorials. Bessborough is a place of historic significance, and the land should never be sold to developers in the first place. Permission to build has already been refused on several occasions, and I'm at a loss to understand why this decision has been taken now. Last year, the Taoiseach came to our commemoration, and I heard him pledge to work with all concerned to address the complex issue of remembrance and memorialisation. He said he would work with the local authority and all involved to see how best the issue of memorialisation on the site could be dealt with. Let us hope that these are not empty promises, but that this issue will be finally settled by the granting of a CPO. Before, I was trying to put a few words together coming here, and I thought, we're here for all of the children that died there and the mothers. And I went to the year that I was born to see what children died, because that's why I consider myself a survivor. I did get out alive when so many didn't. So I'm here today for all those children. But particularly for Christopher Romani of 6 months, who died from cardiac and respiratory failure caused by the accidental aspiration of vomit and consequent asphyxiation. I'm here for Maria McMahon, who died at 6 weeks of a subdural hematoma. We're going to finish now with a final song from the wonderful Faye O'Rourke from Soda Blonde. Thank you.
I just want to express my appreciation and admiration for the committee and the ferocious strength of Noel Brown and all the survivors. It's truly inspiring. This is a song about my own mother's pain being ignored, but it's got hope to it, and it's called An Accident.
Mama, it was exiting heaven at any time. Should be glad I'm alive, along for the ride with you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, damage was done to the heart, they said casually. The scrape of the pen on clipboard. Lordy, I'm glad that somebody could see the pain, and it's not just in my mind. An accident can happen at any time. Should be glad I'm alive to stand by your side. An accident can happen at any time. Should be glad I'm alive, along for the ride with you. Ooh, 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 ooh. An accident can happen at any time. Should be glad I'm alive to stand by your side. An accident can happen at any goddamn time. Should be glad I'm alive to see all these sides of you.
Thank you so much, everybody who came today and marched with us. I know people had to leave and get on with their lives, but thank you for staying. Stay with us. It's not over. Words can be words. We know this. We've had decades of disappointments and promises that were broken. So we still need you. We still need you to sign the petition. We still need you to send those emails and go. You will not make these decisions behind closed doors because Ireland is watching. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we just got legislation passed in the north and it's gone now for Royal Assent. So, yeah. Well, we're just hoping they don't make a bollocks of it.
I know, yeah. God, they did make a nice one. It's a hobos.
Okay, what do you want me to say? Yeah, no, I think it was a fantastic turnout. I'm going to let Mrs. Carmel Cantwell.
So it was absolutely fantastic turnout, and I thank everybody that has supported us in our campaign, and all the survivors that have come forward and told their stories. I mean, it's so much to ask that they tell their stories again, and so many did this week, put them in the paper, and it really did help our campaign. And please God that in the future Watney Hill Martin will hold his promise true, and we will negotiate with the developers and put this land out of reach of them. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Sign the petition.